You're watching TVC Breakfast. The number of frontline workers infected with the coronavirus in Nigeria keeps rising as the country battles to halt the spread of the virus. Journalists and media persons are required to leave their homes to report in difficult circumstances as the world is currently experiencing an unprecedented outbreak. At such a time, the job to keep people informed must go on. But questions about safety of journalists is on the front burner. Joining me via Skype is Director International Press Center, Lanre Arugundade. Good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thanks for bringing me to your program, to your show this morning.
All right, you're welcome. Now, it has been said that journalists have become frontline workers, like perhaps healthcare workers who are also one of the frontline workers in charge at this time. But talk to us about the invaluable role being played by journalists, especially in Nigeria, your assessment of it.
Well, just as you have said, journalists are frontline men and women as far as the fight against COVID-19 is concerned. To that extent, we think that we rank among the first three: the medical professionals and workers, the security agents and the security agencies and agents, and then the media. In fact, the media is central to this battle because information is the major weapon of fighting the COVID-19 battle. And what do I mean? The health authorities, both internationally and nationally, are giving all forms of information about what we need to do to prevent being affected by the COVID-19 virus and what we need to do when we're affected. Now, this is very, very important because it points to the fact that citizens have to be adequately educated, have to be well enlightened, and that awareness needs to be created. One of the challenges that we face in Nigeria, for example, is that we still have possibly some layers of the population that still have some doubts about, this COVID-19 thing. They feel it's not real, and why should we be asked to cover our noses and so on and so forth. And the media has been at the forefront of providing, information, enlightenment, encouragement to citizens that we need to do this, we need to make these, sacrifices. And if you look at what we have done so far, despite the hardships we are facing as journalists, despite the economic difficulties of the media, I would say that the Nigerian media has tried to put itself on top of information dissemination on COVID-19, from the level of the daily reports of the activities of the Presidential Task Force up to our activities in the respective states, covering the briefings by the state governors. I know that here in Lagos, the media has been up and doing because the state government has been up and doing as far as this COVID-19 battle is concerned. So looking at all this, I don't think anybody should doubt the fact that journalists are, frontline men and women. And in any case, we already have some, infections. So a few journalists have been affected by COVID-19, and it cannot be ruled out.
All right, before we go to the safety, before we go to the safety of journalists, I want you to quickly touch on something that has been also of concern to a lot of Nigerians, which also has to do with fake news. How is that undermining this effort that you say Nigerian journalists have made so far?
Well, there's a landscape out there that the conventional media does not really have control over. I'm talking of conventional media as in the newspapers, the TV, and the broadcast, the radio stations. We do not necessarily have control over what people do on their different social media platforms. Now, the level of disinformation and misinformation that we have had over COVID-19 has really been at the level of these social media platforms where people share things on WhatsApp, where people share things on Facebook. And essentially because, this COVID-19, has actually created some panic in the minds of the people. Everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to be seen as being healthy. So if you get an information that says, oh, if you take this combination, you'll be all right, the tendency is for you to want to do that and then to want to share with your, relations and so on and so forth. Now, in the process, people disseminate some fake news because along the line, for example, we've had a number of conspiracy theories around COVID-19. It has to do with 5G. It has to do with plans by some people to wipe out our population by imposing vaccines on us and so on and so forth. Now, I feel that the media has tried, to rise above, fake news. And one of the things we can do better, really, is for us to pay closer attention to what goes on the social media. Because unfortunately, because it's called social media, anytime you have elements of fake news or wrong information there, people now, make the media as a whole to suffer for it. They begin to say, oh, what are you doing about fake news? We do not set out to engage in fake news. All we've been trying to do, all I've seen TDC doing, all I've seen, other television stations do in the course of this COVID-19 pandemic is to go out there to cover the activities of the government, to go around the streets, to, visit hospitals, to talk to survivors. That's what we have been doing.
All right.
We do not go out there to manufacture, fake news. So I think that is the problem.
All right. Larry Arogundade, let's leave the conversation here for now, but then we'll also touch on the safety of journalists as time goes on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The number of frontline workers infected with the coronavirus in Nigeria keeps rising as the country battles to halt the spread of the virus. Journalists and media persons are required to leave their homes to report in difficult circumstances as the world is currently experiencing an unprecedented outbreak. At such a time, the job to keep people informed must go on, but questions about safety of journalists is on the front burner. Joining me via Skype is the Director, International Press Center, Larry Arogundade. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
You're welcome. Nice to be back.
All right, now talk to us from the window of what you have observed, the challenges that Nigerian journalists are facing with this unprecedented pandemic, talking about COVID-19.
Well, I think at this stage, because earlier on we're talking about the fact that it is well established that journalists are part of the first three frontline professionals and workers when it comes to the COVID-19 fight. That is, we have the medical professionals and workers, we have the security agents or agencies, and then we have media, journalists in particular. And what we have done really, based on the perception and observations that the welfare of journalists in the coverage of this pandemic is not being well attended to, was actually to commission a survey. And 5 organizations came together to conduct this survey. The Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, the International Center for Investigative Reporting, my organization, the International Press Center, Enough is Enough Nigeria, Premium Times Center for Investigative Journalism. Now, we didn't just want to wait at the level of this perception. We wanted to really talk to journalists on the field. And then we were able to speak with 463 journalists through this survey, 56% of which are men and the rest are females.